Warla!
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 Hey!
Hi! I'm mate!
I'm Je.
I'm Ren.
And this is
Warla Podcast!
Ang Warla kasi is, ako talaga, I thought ang meaning ng Warla is wala. Which is
Wala.
yung sinabi mo. Pero,
Actually.
yung nag-come up tayo sa pangalan ng podcast na to, parang tumutugma siya. Kasi, the way na paano tayo mag-talk, para tayong mga gays.
Ayun.
So, Warla. It's about war, yung pag-uusapan natin. So,
Yes.
speaking nga ng war, yun ang ating magiging topic for today's
Yes.
video. So, Ate Aj, kunin mo na ang basket.
Oh, may pa-basket kami. Sorry.
Kasi Easter
Drum roll.
Format, yes.
mga performative.
Bing, bing, bing,
So,
bing,
ano
bing.
mo nang nilalaman ng basket na to? Can you explain?
So, yung basket na ito yung Warla basket. Kasi, ang laman nito ay puro topic ng mga relevant na wars na recently lang ay nangyari. Okay! So, sinong bubunot?
Ako na lang.
Okay, ikaw pinakamalapit. So, tignan natin kung anong topic natin for today's video. Okay. Ang
Ayun.
topic natin ay Russia and
Russia.
Ukraine. Ang galing.
Wala.
Para talagang hindi scripted ang mga ginagawa natin.
Russia and Ukraine war.
So, meron tayong bunutan na another bunutan naman. Kasi maliban sa yan ang plot twist natin, may isa pa tayong plot twist, which is, alam nyo naman na yung sa IR theories na pinag-aralan natin, magiging parang gagamitin natin siya as a perspective or lens. Kaya rin kaming nakasalamin kasi nga pinoportray namin yung theories na maa-assign sa amin. So, gagamitin natin to para i-explain kung yung topic natin, which is about Ukraine and Russia. So, meron tayong another bunutan here na, ayan. So, 4 lang to kasi we have 4 IR theories. Magbunot na lang kayo, ang matira sa akin. Itira nyo na sa akin.
Dry your tears.
Ay, parang halata.
What's
Okay.
this? What's this?
So, tignan natin.
Ano ba yan?
3, 2, 1, reveal.
Nauna na ako, te.
Kailangan ako ba?
Ano sa akin?
Hindi ako na ba yan?
Neorealism.
Wala
Wala
kang baliktad talaga.
Okay, neorealism.
Both nations na Russia and Ukraine, we can trace it back ng 19th century called Kievan Rus. That's why Putin has this connotation or belief na or claim that they are one people. While many Ukrainians actually spend their time sa countries differentiating their identity, that's why constructivism really plays a part on how history, how is socially constructed. Kaya constructivism kasi, you cannot see it. It's something, an idea, an ideological
Yeah.
belief ng tao na we could construct as a whole. I believe that we have to, use history in seeing this
Yeah.
problem.
Foundation.
Well, partly in the lens naman ng neorealism or yung structural part. I mean, as we all know, yung Ukraine ay part siya ng USSR noong 1922.
Yes.
Until it collapsed noong 1991. And basically, there was a huge moment around 1990s din kung saan itong si Ukraine, binalik niya yung nuclear bombs, no? And alam naman natin, yung pinaka role talaga ng basically geographically, itong Russia ay parang, alam mo naman na magkakapitbahay sila and geographically,
Yeah.
importante talaga na parang friendly kayo nung katabi mo kasi parang it would come off as a threat, diba? Hindi mo alam kung anong iniisip nila. And surrealism, walang may hawak ng perfect information. And as we speak, alam naman natin na ang Russia, yung ugali niya is parang calculative and strategic din naman yung kanyang mga reasons kung bakit nga may war na ganito. And historically, parang for realism, it's valid naman yung reason niya. But, hindi naman talaga natin siya malulok into one lens lang. So, kailangan din natin i-consider yung ibang lenses. Katulad ng
Neoliberalism.
So, okay.
Yun, ang tagal niya na-loading siya.
Ayun,
And pero
nabalikan
yung
ka.
sa akin kasi, i-share ko lang, is dagdag lang dun sa historical context, is di ba, if we are to go back again, yung real breakdown talaga nito, nag-start noong 2014 with yung Euromaidan.
exactly.
Euromaidan revolution, or also known, sinerge ko siya kanina. Revolution of Dignity siya. Kanina lang, European protest movement siya. So, the pro-Russian movement dati, yung president, I forgot his name actually. And then his name is I don't know how to pronounce it properly. Pero, ayun, nag-favor siya ng 15, dito yung script, $15 billion. Tama ba? $15 billion pala.
$15 billion.
Deal with Russia over EU trade. Tapos, ayun, na nag-led sa protest, tapos, eventually, exile niya. So, yun lang. Add ko lang siya.
So, sa labas ng Marxism, we don't forget the five lines.
Ano daw?
Historically, yun nga, yung five lines. So,
Sabi mo 5 lines.
five lines! House ko, sir!
Okay. Understandable.
Sorry.
Go.
So, historically, yung Ukraine nga is a transit region for Russian gas to Europe. So, under 2014 is under Western pressure is yung Ukraine daw is nagdemand ng 33 billion for transit fee annually on the connection of soaring economic relationships. So, in connection din sa Marxism is economic or net resources and capital concept in that issue. So, for further ado, let's talk about analysis. So what if, kasi di ba marami tayong lens dito dahil sa history, what if i-apply natin yung mga theory natin into the problem itself, like Marxism, realism, liberalism, and constructivism, right?
Yes.
Period.
So, okay, ako na lang. So, I think for neorealism, like I said earlier, yung factor, yung parang geography nga, kasi kahit naman nasabihin natin na malaki na yung Russia, hindi mo pa rin naman ma-ensure yung security mo kung ang kalaban mo ay nakapaligid sa'yo. So, if you have the chance knowing na may threat and wala rin namang pumipigil sa'yo, because as we all know, from the realism's perspective, the international system is anarchy. So, like, Russia can do anything he wants kung papasabog ba siya, aantakin niya si Ukraine, kaya annex yung Crimea. So, wala rin naman pumipigil kay Russia, and Russia is a powerful country. And from the neorealism's perspective, I think yung reason naman ni Russia is because it's like China's reason na pagdating sa tawag dito, string of pearls to the China or strategy ni China kung saan kaya may mga pearls sa China sa ganitong area is because they want to have an influence in that area. For example, malapit halos lahat ng pearls ni China ay malapit sa Indian Ocean because doon ang traditional route. So for Russia naman, kailangan niya rin na magkaroon ng influence doon sa malapit sa border ng Ukraine to have influence over that. Kasi buffer zone niya yung si Ukraine pagdating sa war. So if ever na si Ukraine ay mag-join ng NATO, si US ay possible na, let's say, manipulate si Ukraine to put like military bases on Ukraine, then syempre, maging threatened si Russia. So it's just reasonable for Russia na maging ganun or maging threatened sa actions na ginagawa ni Ukraine. That is for realism's perspective. So what about you?
I think that reminds me of one of the dominant key tendency na you do not judge a country by its landmass, if it's big, automatically malakas. Maybe it's not. Oo. Kasi that's the dominant tendency number 2. Kasi diba, if you are big, you are also insecure. But you will lose, right?
So ano kasi siya, international, IR theory din siya by Robert Kiyosaki that basically describes yung states interconnectedness with one another through multiple channels which includes yung social, political, economic, na hindi lang siya nakafocus sa paano nga ba interconnected yung states sa military force lang. So, with that, from the neoliberal perspective, they would argue that this Ukraine-Russia conflict is a catastrophic failure siya na international institution. And ayun, hindi na tayo lalayo yun. Pero, magiging ineffective siya. Kasi nga, di ba, P5, Russia is, ayun, partial. And, ayun, another argument siguro ng neoliberal for this, on this conflict is that, yung shared economic interests ng bawat country, it would make the war prohibitively costly. So, yun. So, parang yung magiging response dito ng perspective na to, or ng theory na to, is gagamitin syempre yung institution. Di ba nga, from the very assumption ng neoliberalism, yes, cooperation. So, paggamit ng institution to impose bans sa Russia specifically, ano ba? Mag-freeze ng central banks, yan sila. And, ayun, so, I mean, that's their way of like punishing Russia basically sa defection na ginagawa ng Russia sa kanila.
So, sa Marxism, babalik tayo sa material concept. In a sense na it's period, it's imperialism. So, as we dig or in depth of that situation, the capitalist core, such as sanctions, capitalist trade, and or pasok natin yung US and steel, as a capitalist core na inipitin nila yung first nation, which is Ukraine, into its parang sa whole nila to manipulate or to constraints and parang mas kunin yung manipularan nila sa resources, sa kanilang yung kanilang energy growth, yung kung ano yung sa kanila parang magiging beneficial on that parang capitalism. While on the other hand naman yung Russia na may sense din siya sa sinabi ni Jed kanina na pinoprotect niya yung sarili na over others. So, ganun din yung ginagawa niya is pinoprotektahan na yung pag-aari or yung monopoly and export. Siyempre, malaki ka. So, malaki paano yung pag malaki yung role sa'yo, ganun yung hawak mo. Or yun yung parang kung mahirapan ka mag-adjust on parang trusting everyone kung ganun yung system sa sense din ng Marxism na division or like merong mas nakakaangat sa or mas may magko-control sa'yo. So, basically, grabe yung parang effect dito ng capitalist core kasi dalawa yung niya na yung referral nation or the Ukraine parang protekta niya pero the other one is meron mo din siyang interest parang lahat sila may kanya-kanyang interest and yun yung makikita natin yung country na monopoly of parang powers and kung ano yung mas mapuno ang resources.
So let's talk about current situation.
Yes.
Ako na. Mag-30 our orthodoxy inspire sila.
Sure ko lang. Sure mo lang. Ngayon lang yan.
Kasi is their orthodox of course. At the end of the day, we are all. So parang pinatikim lang nila ang actually, di ko alam kung pinatikim kasi parang M&M na. As formality or as, respecting orthodox, it's a big deal. It's a big tradition. And then, oras pa ngayon, basahin ko, 4 p.m. must go tayo on Saturday. And hanggang midnight ng Sunday.
So, hindi rin bumabok ng hindi pala, ng Easter.
6 ba?
May?
Parang West lang.
Ay,
Ay, muna kami sa
Parang US lang, mag-sisters, binong ba ulit?
Oo.
para sa for the plot twist.
For the plot twist. Ikaw, anong current mo?
Or matrician siya. Basically, ang daming nauubusan ay nag-retire workers. Kasi war. Ano ba gagawin natin? Kailan na tayo kakaroon ng peace? So, para sa akin, it's a war.
So, yung naman, so, in realism, I think yung pinaka-relevant na current situation na yun is, alam naman natin, yung US-Iran war. Pero, like, sa news, war ng Russian-Ukraine, hindi lang siya talaga napapansin or na-overpower lang siya ng popularity ng US-Iran. Pero actually, yung US, meron talaga din naman siyang part dun sa Russian-Ukraine war kasi siya ang nagsusupport kay Ukraine. Actually, I've read na sa isang news, yung Russian daw, or yung Russia is parang nalusa na sila ng soldiers. Kasi let's say, 40,000 yung namamatay sa kanila. Then 35,000 lang yung parang nare-recruit nila pabalik. Yung parang, kumbaga napapalitan. So, that's 5K off dun sa parang mamamatay sa kanila. So, nalulugi din yung Russia dito. And, kung iisipin mo, yung perspective ng, yung, let's say, i-compare natin yung US-Iran dito sa Russian-Ukraine, pareho lang silang, kumbaga, like as sa geopol naman, like, sa mga napag-aralan natin, wala naman talagang mananalo sa mga war. Kasi, kahit sabihin natin na may nanalo, lahat tihado. Like, in all aspects, economically, politically, human life, so they will take it as parang collateral lang naman yung human life sa mga war. Pero at the end of the day, lahat naman dito talo.
So, sa lens naman ng Marxism, ang Haruka is the global economy is shifting into a multipolar world. So, in a sense na yung Russia, yung kanyang aggressive sense or like yung global naman, parang character is binabypass ko yung Western hegemony through selling crude sa China and India at surge rates. So, in a sense naman nakatulad sa Iran, US, yung laban is ganun din parang china-challenge ng Iran kung ano yung hegemon country which is yung US and connected siya sa most likely mga countries na parang against din sa parang issue na to ngayon. So, parang nag-make sense siya na yung mga war is connected in geopolitics na merong parang gusto silang interest na or parang silang gustong identity na i-cover or protektahan over the parang hegemon of the West. So parang ikaw as a part of the whole picture, as a parang smaller parts is ikaw ayaw mong mawala yung character mo or yung culture nila yan sa mga aspect ng country is culture, yung attitude or traditions is isa yun sa parang maging collateral dahil sa war.
Let's say they're optimistic, optimistic, but it's not like na parang negative na. Kasi ang realism naman, it could be used as parang to analyze talaga kung bakit nga yun yung reason niya. And hindi naman tayo din pwede maging optimistic na lang all the time. Kasi it would just, look at the one side and parang mag-disregard. Paano kung ito talaga yung reason kung bakit. So, using the constructivism, so, kapag nung sabi ni Ate Ash kanina, hindi rin natin pwede yung surface level, ang kailangan natin go back sa history, yung talaga yung problem. And yun, medyo sakit sa ulo talaga pag-usapan. Okay, so I think that's it. That's a wrap sa ating topic and very fruitful. Insightful. And, ano ba yun? Insightful. Marami tayong natutunan sa mga na-discuss natin lahat using the four perspectives ng IR and of course yung political. And yeah, I think karamihan sa atin also needs to learn things like this. Hindi lang naman porket polsay. Magpo-polsay ka, you have to learn. Kahit hindi ka polsay, you have to know kung ano yung nangyayari. Like, ano nangyayari sa ngayon. Yeah, kasi hindi mo alam, ayaw mo namang paubutin na yung sa isa yung pa yung nangyayari. But,
Supply without knowing this.
yeah, exactly. So,